Picture this. May 23rd, 1430. You are 19 years old. You have just led the French army to impossible victories. You have broken the siege of Orleans. You have crowned a king. And now, you are being dragged off your horse by Burgundian soldiers, who know exactly how much the English will pay for you. Her name was Jeanne d'Arc. We call her Joan of Arc. The world knows she was burned at the stake. That is in every history book. What history does not tell you is what happened in the 13 months before that fire. What they did to her in prison. The systematic torture designed not to break her body, but to destroy her soul. This is that story. Based on trial transcripts, eyewitness accounts, and documents the church tried to bury for 500 years. If you believe that the documented records of history's most silenced voices must be remembered, consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support uncovers more accounts from the darkest corners of the human story. The year is 1430. Joan is a prisoner, but not a normal prisoner. She is valuable, worth 10,000 francs. The English want her. The French cannot save her. The church needs to discredit her. Because here is what you have to understand. Joan did not just win battles. She claimed God spoke to her directly with. She wore men's clothing. She commanded armies. In medieval Europe, that is 3 death sentences combined. So when the English finally bought her in November 1430, they did not just lock her up. They designed a specific kind of hell. Here is what makes this especially sinister. They put her in a secular prison, not a church prison with nuns and female guards like every other woman accused of heresy. They put her in a military fortress in Rouen, in a cell 8 feet by 6 feet, with 5 English soldiers, rotating shifts, guarding her, day and night. Think about what this means. You are a 19-year-old woman. You have taken a vow of chastity. You believe you are doing God's work. And you are locked in a stone room with 5 men who have been told you are a witch, not a saint. The trial transcripts record her testimony. February 21st, 1431. Joan is brought before the judges. She has been in that cell for 3 months. They ask her why she will not wear women's clothing. Her answer stops them cold. Give me a woman's prison with female guards, and I will wear a dress. The judges refuse. Here is what she does not say out loud, but what the transcripts reveal through other testimonies. The guards assault her, repeatedly, attempts at violation that she fights off night after night. The leg irons she wears are not just to prevent escape. She is chained to a wooden post at night, so she cannot defend herself properly. One guard, named John Gray, later testified at the rehabilitation trial in 1456, 25 years after her death, when it was finally safe to tell the truth. He said the other guards mocked her constantly, called her whore, touched her while she slept, told her that no voices from God would save her here. She kept the men's clothing because it had laces and ties that made it harder to remove. A layer of protection in a cell where she had none. Think about the psychology of this. Every person she trusted has abandoned her. The French king she crowned will not ransom her. The soldiers she led will not rescue her. The church she served is prosecuting her, and every night she goes to sleep, not knowing if she will wake up being violated. This was not neglect. This was strategy. Act 1 of the machine, the starvation of hope. The trial begins in earnest in February 1431. It will last 5 months. Not because the evidence is complicated, because they need to break her systematically. Joan is interrogated almost daily, sessions lasting 6, 8, sometimes 10 hours. 70 judges and clergymen, all men, all aligned against her. Pierre Cochon, the Bishop of Beauvais, leads the prosecution. He has been paid by the English. Everyone knows it. The questions are not designed to find truth. They are designed to create contradictions. Do you know if you are in God's grace? It is a trap question. Medieval theology says no one can know for certain. If she says yes, she is guilty of presumption. If she says no, She is admitting her voices are false. Joan, 19 years old, gives an answer that stuns the court. If the first am not, may God put me there. If the first am, may God keep me there. The transcripts record complete silence after this answer. She has outmaneuvered 70 trained theologians. But it does not save her. Here is what is happening simultaneously. While she is being interrogated during the day, she is being tortured at night through sleep deprivation. The guards are instructed to wake her repeatedly. Slam doors, shout, keep torches burning in her cell. After 3 months of this, the trial records describe her as weakened and diminished. She can barely stand during interrogations. They are killing her slowly while calling it justice. Act 2 of The Machine, The Public Humiliation, May 9th, 1431. They take her to the torture chamber, not to torture her, to show her the instruments, the rack, the strappado, the wheel. The executioner is there, ready. They ask her one more time to confess that her voices were demons, not God. Joan looks at the instruments. According to the notary, Jean Massieu, who recorded this session, she says something extraordinary. Even if you tear my limbs apart and separate my soul from my body, I will tell you nothing different. And if I did tell you something different, afterwards I would say that you made me say it by force. She is 19 years old, staring at torture devices, and she is calling out their illegitimate process in advance. They do not torture her that day. Here is why. The English are paying for a legal execution. If they torture her, the conviction loses legitimacy. They need her to confess voluntarily. So they try something else. Act 3 of The Machine. The False Salvation, May 24th, 1431. They take Joan to the cemetery of Saint Juan, in public, in front of thousands. They have built a platform, set up a pyre. The wood is already stacked. Pierre Cochon reads the sentence. She will be burned today unless she recants. Joan has been in prison for 6 months, assaulted, starved, sleep-deprived, interrogated for hundreds of hours. And now she is standing in front of a pyre that will kill her in the next hour, unless she says her voices were lies. She breaks. The transcripts record that she agrees to sign an abjuration, a document stating that her voices were false, that she sinned by wearing men's clothing, that she submits to the church. Most accounts say she signed with a simple cross because she could not read the document. Some eyewitnesses later testified that the document she signed was short, maybe 6 lines. The document entered into the trial record was 33 paragraphs of detailed confession. They switched it, forged her confession to make it more damning. But here is what matters. She signed. She recanted. The crowd thinks she is saved. Cochon promises her a church prison with female guards, better conditions, safety. They take her back to the same cell with the same 5 soldiers, still in chains. Nothing changes. Think about what this does to her psychologically. She traded her entire identity for safety, admitted her life's purpose was a lie, and received nothing in return. 3 days later, May 27th, she is wearing men's clothing again. The English guards later testified that they took her dress while she slept, left her only the male clothing in. When she protested, they beat her. She had to wear it or be naked. But Cochon does not care about the context. Relapsing after abjuration means automatic execution. No more trial, no more questions. She is declared a relapsed heretic on May 28th, sentenced to burn on May 30th. 2 days to live. Act 4 of The Machine, The Final Breaking, May 29th, 1431. Joan asks to confess her sins and receive communion before she dies. It is a simple request, standard for any condemned prisoner. The church refuses. Because she is a relapsed heretic, she is excommunicated, not entitled to sacraments. Think about what this means to someone like Joan. She is about to die. She believes in heaven and hell with absolute certainty, and the church is telling her she will die cut off from God, that she will burn on earth, and then burn eternally. Several witnesses later testified that she wept uncontrollably that night, not from fear of the fire, from fear that God had abandoned her. One guard, moved by her tears, gave her communion in secret, a simple act of mercy that probably cost him his position. May 30th, 1431. Morning. They come for her at 9 o'clock. Joan asks if she can have a cross to hold. The executioner, Geoffroy Tharage, makes one from 2 pieces of wood, ties them together with string. She holds it as they lead her through the streets of Rouen. 8,000 people are gathered in the old market square. The pyre is 6 feet high. They have built it tall so the crowd can see her burn. They have also put the stake on a platform, higher than normal. The executioner later testified why. It was built so high that he could not reach her to strangle her first, which was the mercy usually given to those burned at the stake. She would have to burn alive, fully conscious. Joan is tied to the stake at the top. She asks for a proper crucifix. An English soldier runs to a nearby church and brings one. She holds it in front of her face as they light the fire. Multiple witnesses recorded her final words. She is calling for Jesus repeatedly as the smoke rises. Jesus! Jesus! The fire takes nearly 30 minutes to kill her. Witnesses said her voice carried even as the flames consumed her. When she finally stops screaming, the executioner receives an order: rake back the coals, show the body to the crowd. They need proof she is dead, proof she was mortal, not protected by God. Then he receives a second order: build the fire again, burn the body to ashes. They burn her corpse 2 more times, until nothing identifiable remains. Then they throw the ashes in the Seine River. No body, no relics, no grave, no martyr's shrine. She is 19 years old, and they are trying to erase her from history. Here is what should terrify you about this story. It worked. For 25 years, Joan of Arc was officially a heretic and a witch. Her family could not speak about her. Her soldiers could not honor her. The machine was perfect, systematic, legal, but the machine made one miscalculation. They documented everything: the trial transcripts, the testimonies, the interrogations. They kept records because they wanted to prove the execution was legitimate. In 1456, those same records were used to overturn the conviction. A rehabilitation trial interviewed the guards, the executioner, the witnesses, and the truth came out. Jean Massieu, the notary, testified that Cochon threatened him if he did not record answers the way Cochon wanted. The guards testified about the assaults, the switched confession, the stolen dress. The executioner testified about the pyre built too high for mercy. In 1920, nearly 500 years after they burned her, the Catholic Church canonized her, made her a saint. But here is what haunts me about Joan of Arc. She was right about the strategy, about the battles, about the king. Everything she said would happen. But being right does not save you when the machine decides you are dangerous. She was 19 years old. She saved a nation, and that nation watched her burn, because she was more useful as a dead martyr than a living prophet. The question is not whether Joan of Arc heard voices from God. That is between her and whatever she believed. The question is what it says about power, that they had to destroy her so completely, that burning her once was not enough, that they had to burn her 3 times and throw her ashes in a river. What were they so afraid of? If this revealed something you have never heard before, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we are going to keep uncovering the history they tried to erase. Leave a comment.